Okay, so we're diving into this incident with, oh, I guess you'd call it an attempted assassination. Really gets the heart pounding, you know?
Yeah, definitely eye-catching.
This Associated Press article, it's dated September 15th, 2024, lays it all out. And basically, our deep dive mission here
Like,
is,
what are we trying to figure out?
well, to break it down, like what actually went down.
Yeah.
Then there's the whole reaction thing, right? How do people react? And this is a big one for me, at least. What does this mean for security moving forward?
Yeah, especially with the election coming up.
Huge, huge implications there. But okay, so back to this AP article.
Yeah, let's get into it.
They describe the Secret Service spotting a rifle muzzle, like through the trees,
Oh, wow.
400 yards from Trump. And I gotta say, my heart skipped a beat.
I bet.
It's like, yeah, okay, we know things are tense right now.
Politically, yeah.
But this is something else entirely.
Yeah, and the article mentions this all happened while Trump was golfing in Florida.
Oh, right, in Florida.
Look, 9 weeks after that thing in Pennsylvania, it's like, it really makes you think about the vulnerability, you know?
Absolutely, like how vulnerable are even the most protected people?
Exactly.
And what was going through this gunman's head? Like, seriously, they found backpacks, a scope, even a GoPro camera on him.
A GoPro?
Yes. Like, was he gonna, I don't even want to imagine.
That's chilling.
What would that achieve?
Yeah.
You know, broadcasting something like that?
It's like, what's the message there? It's disturbing to think about. The FBI, they're going to have a field day with all of this.
Oh, yeah, trying to unpack all of that. Okay, but let's rewind for a sec for our listener who might not know all the details yet. Secret Service, they see the gunman, shots fired.
Oh, my God.
Thankfully, nobody got hurt. And the suspect takes off running. They eventually catch him in the next county, which, well, this is the part I know you'll find interesting. The guy, he's totally calm when they get him.
No way.
Swear, not a word, no resisting arrest, just eerie silence.
See, that's a red flag to me, big time. If you're in that situation, even if you planned it, you'd think there'd be some stress.
Adrenaline, something.
Yeah, fight or flight. But this calmness makes you wonder, calculated strategy, maybe to get a lesser sentence, or something a lot more unsettling. It really makes you think about the whole security thing. Right?
Oh, absolutely. So someone getting that close with a rifle to a former president.
With a rifle, no less.
It's like, how does that even happen?
Right. You'd think
former president, they'd still have, you know, top-notch security.
I mean, yeah, it's not...
Like, remember the dump trucks around Trump Tower?
Yeah.
And the bulletproof glass at those rallies? It was intense.
They definitely took precautions, that's for sure. But I think what the article gets at is that it's different for former presidents.
Right. It's not the same as being in office.
Exactly.
So what do they say about the security at this golf course?
Well, it was on partial shutdown.
Okay, so heightened but not completely locked down.
Yeah, and there were Secret Service agents there.
But obviously not enough.
The perimeter wasn't, like, impenetrable.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess it makes sense. They can't shut down everything every time.
Right, but the sheriff they interviewed, he said, if Trump were still president,
Yeah.
totally different story. Full lockdown.
Wow. So it's this weird middle ground.
It is, and you know what adds another layer to all of this?
What's that?
The whole press pool thing, remember?
Oh, right. Trump's campaign isn't traveling with them?
Exactly, and this incident, it really highlights what a risk that is.
Because...
Well, think about it. If reporters had been there at the golf course,
yeah.
we'd have firsthand accounts, immediate reactions.
Instead of just piecing it together after the fact.
Right, and we wouldn't be relying on just official statements and delayed reports.
Which, let's be honest, can be kind of, you know, spun.
Exactly.
And especially these days with social media, everything gets amplified.
Oh, absolutely. It's a breeding ground for speculation.
And misinformation.
Exactly, and it's interesting. The article mentions the reactions from Trump, Biden, Harris.
Right.
And they all condemn the attack, of course. But the tone, the focus.
Oh, totally different.
It's like everyone's interpreting this through their own lens, you know?
It's kind of like we're seeing this through different filters, you know? Everyone with their own take.
Exactly. And like we were saying, those differing viewpoints get amplified so quickly.
Especially with the lack of, like, a clear picture from the get-go.
And, you know, the article highlights how Trump, Biden, and Harris all reacted.
Oh, right. Their statements.
And it's fascinating, isn't it?
What do you mean?
They all condemned it, obviously, but the way they talked about it, the things they focused on, totally different.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like Trump probably went straight into, you know, they're trying to silence us mode.
Exactly. Projecting strength, using it to rally his base. It's textbook.
Makes sense. And what about Biden? What was his angle?
More measured, you know, calling for unity, peace.
Which, I mean, yeah, sounds reasonable.
Right. But you can't help but wonder if it's a little calculated, too.
Especially with all his recent talk about, the dangers of magi Republicans and all that.
Exactly. Like, he's trying to walk this fine line between condemning violence and not stirring the pot further.
It's a tough spot to be in, for sure.
And Harris, she kind of echoed Biden, but then
Yeah.
she added this whole thing about copycat attacks, which...
After that whole GoPro thing is actually kind of scary, right?
Exactly. It's not that far-fetched.
It's like, how do you even begin to address something like that? It's terrifying.
And that's the thing about this whole incident, isn't it? It just throws so much fuel on an already raging fire.
And the lack of a press pool, it's like we're flying blind here.
You're right. We rely on secondhand information, which makes it even harder to separate fact from fiction.
And then there's the gunman himself. The article mentions his name, Ryan Ruth.
Yeah, Ryan Ruth. And get this, his background is a complete mystery.
You're kidding. What do you mean?
Well, there's this weird detail about him trying to recruit Afghan soldiers to fight in Ukraine, of all things.
Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense.
I know, right? And his social media, it's all over the map. Pro-Trump 1 minute, pro-Biden the next.
So we've got an attempted assassination, a former president with, let's be honest, kind of shaky security, a suspect who's either a mastermind or completely lost it.
And an election that feels like it's hanging by a thread.
It's a lot, and honestly, I don't even know where to go from here.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that we have to be incredibly careful about the information we consume.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in the spin, the speculation.
Exactly, and that's what makes this whole thing so unsettling, the lack of a clear narrative.
It's like we're left with more questions than answers.
And that's our deep dive for today.
A deep dive into uncertainty, I guess you could say.
Stay informed, stay vigilant.
And we'll be back next time with hopefully a slightly less baffling situation.